Good evening all. It's that time of the week again. Welcome to round 6 of the CXR Porsche Cup. Tonight we are at Zolder GP, which is in Belgium, I'm reliably informed. And as usual, I have Phil and Ruben with me tonight. Good evening, chaps.
Evening, Mark. Evening, Ruben.
Evening, Mark. Evening, Phil.
I was going to wind Ruben up and say it was in Holland, but there you go.
Oh, you wouldn't wind me up.
This is true. So, round 6 tonight. Already 6 out of the 8 weeks on the season underway.
Yeah.
Have we got some tables we can have a quick rummage through?
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's do
Again.
So we do the pros first. So at the moment, it's still wide open. Currently, Pimbao leading the field with 61 points ahead of Matthew Hodges and Dominic Yavaiza, both on 56. Chris Shorter in 4th on 55. Yeah, so we've got 3 weeks, including tonight, to go 3 rounds. Pimbao won last week from memory. Matthew Hodges had a good couple of races as well.
Last week was Jovaiza.
Oh, was it Jovaiza? Sorry,
Yeah,
Pimbao was second, was he last week?
Exactly.
It was second, apologies, yeah.
That was the close finish at Interlagos.
That's right, on the line, wasn't it?
Yep.
So, yeah, things are quite open there. It's not so open in the AM. Well, certainly not for first place anyway. So Dennis Meisner currently romping away on 95 points. Barring any drastic issues, I would have thought he'd wrap it up in the amateur class. However, second and third wide open. Martin Postema's on 67 points, Esli Vivas on 64, and Rene Porsche on 62. So a good running towards the end of the season for any of those guys. Could Willem C take second place, I would have thought.
Well, exactly. And Rutger Gerritsen took the AM win last week at Interlagos and gained 25 points. So imagine if he does it again tonight and the others have a slightly less better position, then even he comes into contention for a P2 or P3 in the championship.
So currently watching live, they've just done 2 minutes of quali, so they'll be on their first flying lap. In practice, I think they were doing early 130s, weren't they? 131, 132. So that would suggest a lap of about 29 for the race, I would have thought, by the time pit stops are taken. It'll be borderline whether it's 28 or 29 laps, providing there's no flags. So we'll watch how that pans out. But there's been some interesting strategies so far this season. And as you alluded to, we've had a couple of very close finishes, including last week, which was great to watch.
Yeah. Well, while in the background, somebody
took a bit of air there, didn't they?
Well, I think there was Stuart Winers who jumped the curb on the exit of that first chicane. It's really a nice track to drive with the Porsche, but it's quite heavy on the front tires though with the braking zones.
Showing a bit different there.
That could be an off track, but we'll have to wait and see. He's already showing some light damage on the front left also, and that's what we're going to see during the race as well, because you can pick up some front end damage quite easily due to the sausages on this track, and that especially at the first chicane, this final chicane as well, where he's coming through.
So Matthew Hodges currently heading up the very early pole on 131.9, just ahead of Dominikas Jovaiza. Dennis Meisner for the amateurs currently leading in the third, with Rene Porsche just behind him fourth. Dries Kader's just put up his fast lap.
And I think I saw Matthew and Dries running together, so maybe they're trying to give each other a little bit of a tow on the straights to gain some extra time.
As we've seen many times during quali, it's normally mental in the last couple of minutes. This could see some good setting of lap times at the moment, early 130, so it's similar to practice.
Yeah, I believe the quickest lap time in the practice session was 131.0.
Oh, was it 31 dead? Okay.
Yeah, it was 31 dead, so maybe some of the quick guys can even do a 130 high. But we're going to have to wait and see, because I believe last week at Interlagos as well, people were setting faster lap times during during the practice session than the actual qualifying pole position time. So we're gonna have to wait and see. And looking at Stuart Linus's car, he's probably jumped back to the pits to go back out again. But I do agree, Mark. We're gonna see some jumping in time, especially in the last couple of minutes, where they're lower on fuel, tires up to temp.
Yep, so one of them already, 131.3, so we're hitting the low 131s already. Rob Tisson currently on provisional. Approximately half the field have gone out to set a lap. So we are currently watching Martin Postema.
And again, showing a little bit of front end damage. And the question is, I know that having that damage, it can cost you a little bit on top end speed. And the part where we are now, you definitely don't want to miss out on any kilometers per hour, because you'll lose time because of it, obviously. But this is such an important chicane. You don't want to hit the curbs too much, because it's jumping the car. It's gonna flick with the refs as well. And then coming down the hill in the tight section. Important that you get your lines right. If you mess that up, then it's pretty much your qualifying lap done. While Pimbao now goes up into provisional pole with a 131.1. So it's looking like we're going to get close to those high 130s, Mark.
Yeah. They've only set a couple of laps at the moment. Still early doors. Just over a third of the qualifying session gone. So just a shout out to our boys in race control. Is it the three wise men, or we made redundancies and gone to two yet?
It is the three wise men. Aaron, Ed, and Neil are all in race control.
They'll be keeping an eye on proceedings as the race pans out. In fairness, I don't think there's been that much this season in comparison. Generally well behaved.
Yeah. Obviously, there were some incidents, but hey, it's racing. I think that's to be expected.
You're going to get them. You're going to get them.
I do agree. It's been, quite well.
You got any sweaty cams tonight then, Phil? Might notice Phil's very quiet today.
Oh, he's got a different position, Dennis.
He's got marigolds on or something.
And he's got quite the angle on the screens, though.
Blimey. Proper surround triples. It's like a booth, isn't it?
I'm always wondering, how close is the seat to the edges of those outer screens? I can imagine it's quite hard getting in the seat.
So that is currently Dennis Meisner, our leader in the Amateur Championship. Currently looking for a little bit of pace. He's a little bit off it at the moment. He's down in 10th.
Yeah, I think race pace wise, we will be looking at, I reckon, mid 31s to low 32s at the front of the field.
Just as you say that, Dennis goes up into 4th.
Yeah, he goes up into 4th. Yeah, where Jovisa and Jomantis, who were looking really, really strong last week at Interlagos, currently in 7th and 9th position. So it's interesting to see if they are able to get higher up the field during the final 6 minutes of this qualifying session.
Ooh,
oh,
ow.
Wow.
Ow. Yeah,
That's
big spin.
That's going to hurt.
That's a big hit.
Well, fortunately, you can go straight back into the pit and come back out. Wouldn't advise that during the race, though.
Pimbao has gone a little bit quicker.
Ooh,
Not yet in the 130s, but he's close. He's close. let's see.
Two pro drivers at the top at the moment, followed by 2 amateur drivers in positions 3 and 4.
Matthew comes across the line, jumps up to P3. There you go.
Wow, 2/3 of the way through already.
Qualifying flies, doesn't it, really?
It does.
Some
Yeah,
weeks
it
you're
really
really
does.
like, wow, this is dragging on. But then some weeks it just absolutely flies by. I think I'd struggle to get a lap in myself.
That's normally my excuse, isn't it? Even the pace car give me a run for my money.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's a tricky track. There are some the section where Jovica's coming up to. It's so easy to just cut the chicane a little bit too much, chicane it off track, and then obviously there's no lap time. Oh, wow! While we had a quick look at, I believe it was Rutger Gerritsen who also jumped that chicane. Here we go.
Sausages.
Airborne.
Yeah.
Yep. We can only hope that people are a little bit more careful during the race, because if you do that, then yeah, I'm not going to say it's race over, but it's going to be difficult to get a good position in. Right,
Just for those of you wondering, at the bottom there you see the 5 splits for everyone on their lap. So yellow means they're not the quickest time they've set in that sector. Green means it is the quickest time they've set in the sector. And if you're lucky enough to see purples, it's the quickest in the session. So that gives you an idea if they're likely to beat their existing time or not. Lots of yellows. So hopefully they'll start stringing some glowing laps in a minute. But it's going to have to be a 1:30 to get on pole now, I would have thought. So who are we going to put the curse of death on today then?
I'll leave that up to you, mate. I know last week you hoped someone. I'm not even going to mention his name.
I think it's even 2 weeks running, but I think it's 2 weeks running actually. I've managed to put the kibosh on someone.
Yeah, normally I was good at it, but you've taken
I
over.
For Kieran. I think I went for Kieran a few weeks back, and he had issues in the first lap, didn't he?
That was last week.
Was that last week? Wow.
I think last week you went for Kieran, and
did I? Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
I believe so. I believe so.
I won't pick him this week then. I'll share the love out a little bit.
Right. So currently Pimbau on provisional pole, followed by Rob Thijssen, Matthew Hodges, Jack Fuller-Clifford, who stays in stall. So I reckon he's not going to qualify, or at least not put in one more lap. Then we've got Ashley Wavers, Dennis Meisner, Joe Weitza, Rutger Gerritsen, René Borsche, and Joe Mendes rounding out the top 10. It is all relatively close, apart from Maarten Postema, who's about half a second behind Kieran Smart. Oh, that's an off track for Ashley.
Just under a minute to go in qualifying.
Yeah. Not really many changes. Ashley Weavers, although we made that mistake, is still coming out for an out lap. The same for Dries Kader, who we are currently watching in P14. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, he's on his out lap. So, wow, he's gonna Is he going to make it, though? 10 seconds left. I don't think he will. I think he's just a little bit too late to come across the line for one final quick lap. Yep. So 15-minute mark. Oh, Jomentus jumps up into third position. Just 0.02 of a second in front of Matthew.
Oh, and he gives up. Cheers for the sub there, Ruben.
Yeah, no worries.
20 months in a row.
20 months.
What's the record?
I guess that would be me, and I think it's 36 months.
Yeah, that's a bit like voting for
And
yourself.
after you, it's
don't count.
It would be
Who was it?
Kieran Williams.
Kieran, I think.
Kieran, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's somewhere around like 26, 27 months easily.
Yeah. Martin is on track.
And they're all stopping. So I reckon Pinbao is not showing he's gonna out. He's probably practicing pit entry, which is quite a good thing to do because it's it's not the easiest pit entry on this track, and we've seen that before in other leagues where we've run this track.
So, do you recall? Question for you at Zolder. Who was it who was leading the race we ran once and power slid perfectly into the pit?
Billy Fletcher.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah.
That was proper funny. That was.
He was lucky, but it was good for him. But he was lucky to not have any issues there. All right, here we've got the qualifying results for round 6 at Zolder for the CXR Porsche Cup. It's Pinbao on pole position. In front of his teammate Rob Thijssen. On P3, it's Aureus Jomentus. P4, Matthew Hodges. P5, Jack Fielder Clifford. P6, Ashley Wevers. P7, Dennis Meisner. P8, Kieran Smart. P9, Dominicus Jovaisa. P10, Rutger Gerritsen. P11, René Bosje. P12, Maarten Postema. P13, it's Stuart Wyness. P14, Dries Kader. P15, Daniel Merchant. And I'm not going to include myself. P16 because I made a little mistake. I'm sorry. And it's showing
points still.
Vlucht. I hope not. But yeah, that was my mistake. It's been a while since I've done that, but shit happens. Right. Everybody
used to steal the thunder, eh?
No. Everybody's gritting up though. Just waiting on a couple. And then it's going to be a short run into turn 1. And I think that first chicane especially is going to be interesting.
Ah, Ruben. Can't get the staff, can you?
I don't know what I was thinking. So, Mark?
Kiss of death? What do you want me to do? I don't know, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's, what should I go for? Let's go for one of your countrymen. Let's go for a...
We've got green flag, and we're away. Oh,
is it Postman Pat Sesley Vivas, isn't he? So I'm going for him with a podium. There you go. Curse of death.
Matthew didn't have the best start, and we see Kieran Smart. That was Kieran Smart. Going really, really wide. And although Matthew didn't come off the line quite well, he managed to stay in 4th position. But look at Jomentus. Already attacking Rob Thijssen. And Pinbao up into 3rd position. And now we're going to come up to the first chicane. Lap 1.
Oh.
Oh,
See how much speed he's lost hitting those sausages, can't you?
Yeah. And I think he did the right thing by pulling in front of Rob Thijssen just to make sure that he kept the position. Oh. Everybody seems to go through quite well, which is good. But I was thinking that Jomantis may took a little bit too much of that inside curve.
See not?
Oh, I hear a little bit of contact in the background.
Stuart Winus and Dries Cadell, I think. Coming up to the line, end of the first lap. Yo Mantis is up 2 places, currently leading, although under attack from Rob Thijssen.
Yeah, they gave each other room, so Rob Thijssen not pulling through. Jomantis still in the lead. But they're following quite well. Dries Cadell came into the pit, probably had too much damage due to the contact with Stewart. Stewart is still going though, and Kieran Smart, although he had that off track at turn 1 right after the start, he managed to catch up and is now behind Daniel Merchant, who's just over a second behind Rutger Gerritsen. Where we see a position change between Jack Fielder-Clifford and Matthew. So that puts Jack into P4. Let's see if he's able to get the fight or bring the fight to Pim Bao, who's in 3rd position. While Jovaisa is now putting the pressure on Matthew Hodges.
Just watching Kieran Smart and Daniel Merchant battling it out. So Kieran already working his way back up after going wide early on lap 1.
Yeah, he gained 2 positions from Stewart and Dries after their contact in that last sector. Wow, Jomantis really putting some good pace there. Currently the quickest with a 131 and the only one in the 131 so far, while Kieran makes a nice move there around the outside at turn 1. He gets P12, the position from Daniel. Oh.
Is that your advisor?
No, that's Jack.
Oh, is that Jack Fielder-Clifford? Ah.
Yeah.
No.
Contact with Ashley Wavers.
Oh no, contact is curse again.
I think, I'm not quite sure what happened there, but Rutger Gerritsen also went into the wall. So let's have a look. There already was some contact. He managed well to keep control though, but what happened here? Side by side.
Ooh.
Well, we'll leave that up to race control. They'll definitely will have a look at that, but I mean, Jack will have to come in though, because that's some severe damage, and the question is what it will do to Ashley. I can imagine that Ashley Wavers will have to come in as well, because he also went into the wall quite hard, and the same goes for Rutger Gerritsen. But
I'm having a good hit rate at the moment then. That's 3 out of 3 I think I've done. Is this why you stopped predicting them?
Exactly that, mate. Exactly that. Right, so while the top 3 are just flying across the track, it's Pim down with the quickest lap time, 131.4. Then about just under a 2-second gap to Matthew, who's still closely followed by Jovaisa. Then it's the leader in the AM class. We're currently watching him, as well as in the sweaty camp, Dennis Meisner.
Who's just noticed? Is his gloves match? No, not quite. I thought he had matching gloves with the in-car cam and the rear cam.
Wow, now you say it, yeah. Good call.
It's closed. Washed up gloves, but there you go. Rubber glove. Each their own.
Right, so the 3 who were involved in the incident lap before are all 3 coming out of the pits. They have their wow, Matthew Hodges makes a mistake right there, loses the position to Jovaisa. And he's probably even gonna get a little bit of a slowdown, but it won't be much. Oh, Joe Weissa blinking just a little bit. But as I was gonna say, we do have one fast repair, and who's that turnaround? That's Rob Thijssen.
It is.
Wow, what happened with Rob? A lot going on. I can imagine that Phil wants to show replay, but there's just too much going on.
Here we go. On board.
All it's smooth, keeping a tight line.
Braking.
Yeah, braking quite. I think just turned in too hard, didn't he? Took too much speed into the hairpin and lost the back end.
Quite a common theme in this, isn't it? In the old Porsche.
Sorry, say that again?
So it's quite a common theme on a lot of the races we've seen this season in the Porsche, where people
Yeah.
are turning in, the back just goes.
Yeah, if you take too much speed, it comes around. Maarten Postma, though, in a nice battle with René Bosche, and now Kieran Smart already up to P8. And Rob Thijssen is behind him. But you can see Rob Thijssen was in P2, I believe, when he made that mistake. And dropped out to P9. And that's overall.
Well, he's got enough time. If you're going to do something like that, you want to do it at the start of the race, not at the end of the race. He's got a little train in front of him, so he can claw a few paces back.
Yeah, true. Although I mean, you can have the pace over the others, but it's not necessarily the easiest track to overtake.
No, certainly not. Like you said, it's a very flowy track, this one.
Yeah. Oh,
little kiss there. Just let Kieran know he's there.
a little bit of a tap. Maarten Postma showing himself in the mirrors of René Bosche. René Bosche misses the apex there on the entry of that final chicane. But as you can see, if you then manage to stay on the racing line, you're not able to get a move done. And it's Kieran Smart now looking on the inside of Maarten Postma.
Nice take there.
Yeah, nicely done. And I would imagine, though, Mark, that Maarten Postma was probably thinking, well, Kieran Smart, he's a pro driver. If he's faster, just let him pass.
Yeah, quite possibly. There's a little group of them, isn't there? And Kieran's the only pro in that little group of 4.
Yep. And is Rob gonna try to make a move on the inside here in the first chicane? He is. Well done. Grabs another position.
Just having a little look further up, yeah, Mantis is taking advantage of being a front by 2 seconds with a clear track. So he's now posted a 131.29 for the fastest lap of the race to date. And now their top 3 actually all splitting out by 2 seconds as well.
It seems like they were playing a little bit of hide and seek during qualifying, weren't they? Because they weren't that quite up high in the positions. Jumantis was, but I mean.
Well, Dominic Gervais's gone up 6 places at the moment, so he's currently sitting in 3rd. So back up what you said there.
So the same 3 that we saw finishing ever so close at Interlagos last week are the same 3, not in the exact position, but the same 3 as we saw. So Jumantis, Pimbau and Joe Weissa. Wow, Kieran Smart now took the position from René Bosche. Tail wiggle there from Rob Thijssen. And as close as he is, I can imagine he's going to do the same as he did the lap before. Maarten Postma not really working. He wasn't quite close enough. And unfortunately, we have to say that Jack Fielder Clifford has retired from the race. I'm not quite sure if after the incident something else happened as well, because he came out of the pit together with Ashley Wavers and Rutger Gertsen, and he used his fast repair, so I'm not quite sure if anything else happened where he got that much damage from that he had too much time to repair. Look at how close this is. Again, Thijs is showing himself in the mirrors of René Porsche. René Porsche locking up a little bit. What about Dennis Meisner? Dennis Meisner really up to pace. He's within a second of Matthew Hodges. Overall in contention for P4. So, I'm wondering though, Dennis Meisner leading the AM class at the moment, Mark. And I believe it's René Porsche in P2 and Maarten Postma in P3. Does that mean anything for the AM championship at the moment? Apart from Dennis Meisner obviously leading the race.
He's going to romp away even more, isn't he? So,
exactly,
Postma, no, not really. Postma's currently second anyway, so just again reinforcing his position in P2 in the championship. Mr. Merchant is a little bit further down from memory. He's down in 11th. He'll go up potentially 2 or 3 places as it currently stands. So the person most at risk at the moment is Esley Vivers, who's down into 12th. René Porsche does have the opportunity to overtake him if it stays as it is. So we need to keep an eye on that one. But yeah, that's the only real change of note for the championship.
Okay. Well, Jermaine has shown some impressive pace. He was about half a second quicker last time around than Pim Bao, and the gap to Pim is now 3.1 seconds. What do you reckon on pit stops, Mark, when we're going to see some pit stops?
I seem to get this quite wrong more often than not for some reason. In the GT, was it the GTEs we were doing or GT3s? They were much more consistent when they were lapping for the pit or when they were coming into. Oh, there's a big puff of smoke there. Someone gone out? No.
I think it was Dries Kader who had an off there.
So I would sort of guess, is it 40%, isn't it, roughly? So for I reckon it'll be around a lap 15, 16. But that is a little bit of a guess. I'm sort of guesstimating around 28, 29 laps for the race, including the pit stop.
Right. So after Rob Thijssen eventually took the position there from René Porsche, it's now Maarten Postma going for the overtake on the inside of the hairpin on René Porsche. René Porsche having a good exit though, so they're going to be side by side coming up to the final chicane, and that's P2 and P3 in the AM class. René Porsche having the inside here, so Maarten Postma has to yield where he thought he may get the position from René. He has to join in right behind him again. But this is going to be an interesting battle. Currently, unfortunately, one of the only battles on track worth to watch. Obviously, it's Dennis Meisner, who's still within that second of Matthew Hodges. Yes, it's for overall position, but it's not going to do anything for the Pro and AM class. So, yeah, Phil switched back to a quick replay from Dries Kader, where we saw him missing that first chicane, and I believe after that he had another incident, and he came into the pits. And I think it's here Dries making way. Oh. Right, that was quite the interesting...
Yeah.
Well, okay. Nobody hurt. All good. Right, so yeah, again, it's Maarten Postma who is still behind René Porsche. Not as close as he was the lap before, though. Could be because of Rob Thijssen overtaking René Porsche and René Porsche not having the speed or the momentum to keep on going. But he has a good final chicane right there, and immediately pulls the gap to a second. So He's putting down some good pace. Puts in his fastest lap of the race even. Could be due to just trying to follow Rob Thijssen, which could help following a faster car.
Yeah, I prefer that, to be honest, rather than being in front of a faster car, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Get a bit braver on the braking as well.
Yeah, you can look at the lines,
Yeah.
exactly as you say, the braking points, that sort of stuff.
I was just having a little look. Diamantis is currently making not far off 4 tenths a lap gain on Pim Bao. He's around 4 seconds ahead, although, as I say that, he's just lost some time. He was about 4.2 ahead at one point. And then Pim Bao is 3 seconds ahead of Gilles in third, so he's 2 seconds ahead. So they're spreading out a little bit at the moment, unfortunately. Probably
What
the first
does it
race we've had
mean-
like that this season.
Yeah, what does it mean for the Pro Championship though? Because I know Pim Bao was leading it, but it was relatively close to each other, obviously, on points.
Yeah, if Visor, if it stays as it
Ooh.
is,
Oh.
I believe they are going to be tied. I think it's 5-point difference. I can't remember what the points are for first and second, but I think it's 5 points between them. Has Esley just gone out there?
I think he jumped out of the car. I saw him going a little bit wide on the exit of the final chicane, and it's not quite easy to pull the car out of the gravel and grass. He hit the barrier just a tiny bit on the left side and then decided to retire the car at the end of the main straight, turn 1.
Okay, so I've just done what no man ever does and read the rules. It's actually 7 points difference between first and second, not 5, for my ignorance there. So on that basis, it means that Mantis is going to be up into... I'm just trying to work this out mentally now. He's going to go up into 4th regardless. Visor is currently third, so that's 3 points. 3 points difference. Yeah, so Pim Bao will extend his lead slightly, but Mantis will jump up into 4th. Hodges is still 4th, so he'll stay second. So yeah, as it stands, Pim Bao, Matthew Hodges and Visor, the top 3 will stay as it is, but Mantis will close the gap considerably and jump up 1 position to 4th in the championship. Hope that's clear as mud. It's not often I stun you into silence, Ruben.
As I'm also looking at the Twitch chat where Phil Regan, I believe he's the team owner or team manager from XC Racing.
Yes.
He's also pointing out the points.
Yeah,
where,
as I'm
as
also
you're
reading
it
on
out.
the table.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, just saying, just for at the moment, Mantis is obviously the biggest profiteer of the current situation, but as we've seen many a times, it does change as the race progresses. But it keeps it nice and tight for the season. It's nice that it's not completely wrapped up by round 6. Well, unless you're in the amateurs, but
It's going to be for the pros. It's going to be a close one, I reckon.
yeah, I think it's going to
season.
go all the way. It's going to go all the way. I think. If it stays as it is, it will make it more interesting.
Do agree. Yeah, and unfortunately, we're not seeing a lot of battles on track. It's René Borsche who's actually pulling away from Maarten Postema. The gap is now 1.6 seconds. And René is doing actually quite well. Not really keeping up with Rob Thijssen, but Rob Thijssen is not really that fast that he's really driving away from René. So I think that pulls René a little bit forward, as we said before. I'm looking at the lap times of the lap that they just finished. Jomantis was 10th slower than Pim, so Pim had a quicker lap, but not enough to close the gap. It's still 4 seconds, and Pim himself's got 4.2 seconds roughly to Jovisa. So it may come down to the pit stops again. Who's got the quicker pit stop, and will that bring the field a little bit closer? It's Daniel Merchant who comes in. Is he gonna do the first mandatory pit stop of the race? I think he will. seems a little bit early, yeah. It's interesting.
I thought
We'll
they
have to wait and
squeezed.
see.
Yeah, I was sort of in my head thinking around, like I said earlier, lap 17, 18, which is sort of 25-ish minutes.
Yeah.
But nothing surprises me. It caught me by surprise on the first race. I think they pitted less than halfway round. They started pitting. I was thinking, oh, I've severely miscalculated that. So just as you mentioned earlier, Phil in the chat there. Yeah, it's anyone's championship. It is the best way. A lot of the seasons we've run tend to be buttoned up by sort of 2/3 of the way through. But in the pros this year, it's nice and open, which is good to see. We have had previous seasons go to the wire and somebody win on a point from memory not that long ago. Was it Adam Southgate? He won the championship by a point.
Yeah, he did. Good recall. While René Bosch is coming into the pit as well. So it's must be close to
The window
pit
is
stop
there
time.
then,
Yeah.
yeah. The window's open. So
That means that Maarten jumps up a position. Jumentis, well, he's using quite a lot of that inside curb coming out of that first chicane, but he is showing a little bit of front end damage on the right front.
doesn't seem to be affecting his time too much. I mean, last lap was a 1:31.7, so well up there.
He actually pulled away a little bit more. It's now 4.6 seconds to Pinbao.
Yeah, it took a tenth from him on the last lap, so every little help, as they say. Other supermarkets are available.
Well, pit window's definitely open.
Yep,
Joe
here we
Weissa
go.
and Matthew both coming in.
Yep. That was a lap out. That's a bit of a shame. There you go.
Kieran Smart, though, can do one more lap. Interesting. Baptiste also came in.
Well, top four are all out on the 16th lap at the moment, including Dennis Meisner.
So, Mark, how are we looking on the times for the pit stops?
Having a little look. So for the scheduled ones, I'll ignore the ones that have been in unexpectedly. You're looking sort of 13, 14 seconds at the moment as standing time. Yeah, that would appear to be the going time, give or take.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what that's panning out to overall though, because obviously this one's quite a long track, isn't it? It's got is it a chicane? I'm trying to recall now. Or a hair? Is it a hairpin or a chicane? I think it's a chicane, isn't it, at the top end when you come off the slip road?
It's actually quite interesting to see though that Matthew gained about 1.5 seconds on his pit stop compared to Javisa. Is he able to get closer and closer and get the fight going for the position?
Leader's in.
The leader is in. Oh, yeah, and he straight away damaged the front right. We could see that on camera. Jumped the curb too much.
Top three in, so that means I suspect Kieran and Martin will also come in. 16 laps completed. Yep, here we go. Just having a little look back. Yep.
Just responding to someone. I think that's because of the pit entry. I do recall that in earlier seasons it was telling us that there was a crash on track and that all had to do with just entering the pit. So for some reason it's showing as a crash. A little bit weird. Right, Pinbao and Jumentis coming out. Wow, Pinbao. 2.3 seconds quicker than Jumentis.
That doesn't make sense.
So he actually pulls out in front of Jumentis. There you go.
Yeah, but he was 4.5 seconds behind.
Wow, if he can make it to the end of the race, then what a pit stop he made there.
Was Jumentis a bit too cautious on coming in up the slip road before he has to hit the line? Gotta be. It's the only other
Could
place
be,
you could have lost
yeah.
the time. Because,
Could
you know, even on that basis, you should still be, your Mantis should still be a couple of seconds ahead, all things being equal.
Yeah, Rob Thies took the position from Kieran Smart, so currently overall in P6. And I also see that Maarten Postema, who was behind René Bosje as well before they entered the pit stops, is in front of René now, so he's in second for the AM class. And René back to third. But I reckon we're going to see a interesting final 20 minutes of this race. Oh, we've got a replay here of René Bosje. Did he made a mistake somewhere?
Hey,
Well, I did well to recover.
Yeah,
He did well to recover, but lost a little bit of time, so that's not going to help. But here we've got the battle between Jovaisa and Matthew.
Oh, that's a good shout there. I didn't think of that. You meant to have some minor... No, I don't think so, because the pit time, or the standing pit time, was only 2 seconds difference. So, like I say, he was 4 and a bit seconds ahead, wasn't he? So, I think he's lost it, maybe been a bit over cautious coming in and maybe not being as aggressive till he hit the pit limiter line.
Yeah, and with the optional repairs, they do have one fast repair, and since they didn't came into the pits earlier due to some sort of damage, the question is if they even use their fast repair, obviously, and if they did, then it should have been equal to the both. So I do agree with you there, Mark, that maybe Pimbao just took a little bit more risk coming into the pit, and as well as coming out of it. But it's only a second though, the lead, so a lot can
That makes it
happen.
more interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Your guys, Yamentis obviously has the pace, so he's shown that so far in the race. So I suspect that will be reeling in. It is coming down as we're watching. Down to a second now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one. While we see that Matthew still stays within the second of Jovice as well, and Kieran Smart still on the back of Rob Thies. Here we have the leader and P2 Jomantis. Pimbao not try to push it too hard, because obviously it could end badly for the both of them. But that means Jomantis...
To the race, we know he's got the pace, that's no question there whatsoever, but he's already opened up 2 car lengths worth, 3 tenths roughly. It depends if Pimbao can keep up, I suppose, in the slipstream, following him round. Who knows?
Oh, Jomantis seemed to push quite hard there on the exit out of turn 1. Maybe trying to create the gap to Pimbao. Well, good stuff. Some good racing. Kieran Smart though, since Rob Thijssen is behind Dennis Meisner, it's now Kieran Smart who's also within half a second of Rob Thijssen. So there's also maybe a move for a position in the Pro class, as Dennis Meisner is just currently in a good position for the AMs leading about 3.3 seconds behind Matthew, but he's got quite the lead over P2, Maarten Postema and René Bosje in P3.
It looks like all our Christmases have come at once now. We've got a couple of little battles on, but we're on board currently watching Dennis Meisner, Rob Thijssen and Kieran Smart. Pimbao still 4 tenths behind at the front, so we'll keep an eye on this for a little bit. Approaching the last 5 minutes already. Where does it go? Also means, I suspect, we might even have the best bit of the race coming up soon, the chief driver of the day.
So Rob Thijs here on the inside of Dennis Meisner into turn 1 and takes the position. Again, it's overall, it's not affecting any of the 2 for the championship, and I think Kieran Smart really wants to try and follow through as quickly as possible to stay in touch with Rob Thijssen. As you said, we're coming up to the final 5 minutes. Take it away.
Hey, so for those of you watching on Twitch only, unfortunately, driver of the day, which is our weekly little poll, pretty self-explanatory. In alphabetical order is all the drivers participating tonight. To the left of their name is a number, and you just punch in that number in the chat and it will log your vote. So if you're looking for some ideas, Pim Bao, currently second place. He's gone up 10 places from his qualifying position. Kieran Smart's up 9 places, despite having a little issue at the start of the race. He's currently into 6th. Martin Postma for the amateurs in 8th position overall. He's gone up 6 places. And then we've got a whole bunch on 4. So yeah, I will probably put my vote in towards the end. We keep it open for a minute or two after the race as well. As we've seen before, there's always a turn up for the books towards the end that might change people's mind, but once you've logged it, you can't change it.
And what we've seen before, Mark, when Rob Thijssen was behind, then what happened with Dennis Meissner? Oh, never mind. He probably had a little bit of an internet cutout. But what I was going to say, Rob Thijssen was stuck behind Dennis Meissner for a little bit, which made Kieran Smart come really close on the back of Rob Thijssen. Now the same is going on with Kieran Smart and Jovaisa. Since Kieran Smart is stuck behind Dennis Meissner, now Jovaisa is not going to look up the inside here of Kieran. But there's going to be a fight on our hands for P6 overall.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at lap times, in fairness, Dennis Meissner is only a couple of attempts slower than the others.
Oh, Kieran Smart.
Oh no!
Actually loses control.
That's Ruben's fault. I'm not taking the blame for that.
He really took a wide line. He obviously left the room there as Jovaisa was on the inside, but I think he just went too wide, got on the dirt, and lost control of his car, unfortunately. So that's a battle that's obviously not there anymore. So back on board with Jomendes and Pim Bao. Pim Bao looking really close, a little bit wide there, coming out of turn 4, coming up to the first chicane again, where we will see the different lines again, although Pim Bao taking a little bit more of that curb, exiting the first chicane. So, and I think Pim has lost a little bit of time there. Went in a little bit too hot in that sector. Jomendes had a good line, nearly 0.8 of a second now. And I think we're gonna be relatively close. Actually, no, I think we will go on to the final lap. Coming across the line next time. Jomendes still leading in front of Pim Bao.
I might actually be right for once, Ruben. It might be 29 laps, you know.
Well, if they finish this one, they've done 30.
No, they haven't done 29.
Oh, a whole 29, nearly 30 then. No. You're right. You've done well.
Something right.
Is Pim gonna go for a late move here in this final lap?
I'm not sure. He hasn't really been close enough since Jomendes has overtaken him, has he? I know he's in his wing mirrors, so to speak, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get past. Unless, obviously, Jomendes makes a mistake. Just keeping an eye in 6th as well, because Jovaisa is 4 attempts and closing slowly on Dennis Meissner. as well.
Yeah, true. He's been close all the time, but then again, like I said, it's not for championship position. As Dennis Marshall obviously is the AM leader in the championship, and Javisa is a pro class driver. Oh, and Pimbao lost control there.
That's your fault. I won't take blame for that.
What?
Oh
So-
dear. Actually, this might make it a bit more interesting as well if he loses a position to Matthew. I
Well,
don't think
they
he'll
had
close
quite a
it.
gap. They had quite a gap for Matthew, so I don't think so. But it's Joe Mantis who's going to take the checkered flag first and wins round 6 at Zolder. So well done to Joe Mantis. Unfortunately for Pimbao, he lost control. Then again, still a good second position. Good fight we saw there. And Matthew Hodges not had the best start of the race, but just stay calm, cool. Took P3. Got Thijs P4 and Dennis Meiser and Jovisa. 400ths of a second in between. Kieran Smart coming in 7th. And then we're going to have to wait for P2 in the AM class. And that's going to be Maarten Postema. So well done by Maarten. A good second position. I think that's his second podium. I think he got his first podium last week at Interlagos. And you've got René Borsche taking the final podium position for the AMs. Finishing in 9th in overall. Dries Kader, he was a lap down due to some of the incidents during the race. So we're waiting on Daniel Merchant and Stuart Wyness to come across the line.
So Postema, just for let you know, it's actually his third podium. He had a third place in round 4 and a second place last week.
Oh, there you
He'll
go.
be very excited then, because he does like his racing. He gets very happy with his results, doesn't he? Which is fair enough. I think Dennis is wrapped up. I'm trying to work out if Dennis is wrapped up the championship. As long as he races, I think he'll be okay. So congratulations to Yo Mantis there, who takes his maiden victory in the season. And there we have it. So for the pros, Yo Mantis takes the win ahead of Pimbao, who made a mistake on the last lap. Who still finishes ahead of Matthew Hodges in 3rd. Rob Chisholm finishes 4th. Yo Visor in 5th. Kieran Smart in 6th. And Jack Fielder Clifford in 7th. And on to the amateurs, so no surprise. Dennis Meisner, yet another win. I'm pretty sure that's 5 out of 6. Ahead of Martin Postema, René Borsche, Daniel Merchant, Stuart Wyness, Dries Kader, Esley Vivers, the Postman Patman, Ruta Gerritsen, and Edward Vloot. Oh,
There you have it.
so championship standings for the pros. Pimbao opens up a smaller lead, 8 points ahead of Matthew Hodges, who holds on to. Well, I think he goes up to 2nd actually. Yo Mantis goes into 3rd, or down to 3rd. No, he's gone up 2. Sorry, my apologies. He's gone up 2. Yo Visor's gone down 1. Chris Shorter didn't race tonight. He's obviously gone down 1. He was our early season leader. Amateurs, I think we got Dennis Meisner, I believe, will be romping away. 120 points. Wow, look at that. So I think he's had, is it 5 out of 6? I'm trying to think now. I think he's had 5 wins out of 6. Martin Postema, 2nd, so I think it's going to be on 85. René Borsche on 77, going up 1 place ahead of Esley Vivers, who had that accident mid-race, who's currently in 4th on 70. So I think it's a toss-up between those guys for the rest of the podium spots.
Let's just have a look at the overall championship as well, if I can bring that up on the screen for everybody. Yeah, so there you can see Dennis in P5 as well. So really, really commanding driving all season. Yeah, so
Yeah.
have another look. Who Matthew Hodges in P3, Yomantis in P2, and Pimbao in P1. Obviously, yeah, really good. It is really good to see some of the AM drivers, like how they can mix in with some of the pros. Like obviously it's all based on your I rating at the end of the day. There's no other way you can really do it. So it just shows you that really it doesn't it doesn't really make all the difference. Like you can be a lower I rating, but still can mix it with some of the higher I raters. So it's good to see. Next week we're on to Suzuka for round 7. So that should be a good circuit for these cars, and then Spa for the week after. Cheers, obviously, for your commentary tonight, guys. Cheers to the guys in race control.
Thank you, Phil. We're going to wrap out quickly. Driver of the day. Don't want to miss the best feature of the night.
Sorry,
well, looking at it, it's going to be Jumantis.
Yeah, it's Jumantis on 57%, so I'll say Phil a job there. So
well, there you go. I've just
done the double
anyway,
tonight.
He has done
Actually,
the double.
in fairness to him, he's done the treble because he had the fastest lap as well.
Did he get pole position?
No, he didn't, because he went up 4
No,
places, didn't he?
Yes,
So...
no, that is true. Yeah. So yeah, that he missed out on the full clean sweep there, but never mind.
No quad for you.
Yeah, there's always next week. There's always next week. Right. Cheers, guys, for watching, and we'll catch you next week, same time, 8 o'clock, and we'll have some Suzuka action for you. Cheers.
Take care, guys. See you soon.
Guys. Good evening.